We are back at Sidebar with Jason Jay, who is the Director of Sustainability Initiative at MIT Sloan School of Management. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Can you start by telling us a little bit about what that means? What do you do at MIT?
Oh, sure. Well, I teach business students, which is super fun. I teach executives, and I support research projects that are aiming to improve the quality of our conversation about sustainability and provide, some greater rigor and discipline to the field as it grows.
MIT gets quoted a lot in the conversation broadly about aggregate confusion, which is not only the name of my new punk band, but is actually a term of art that talks about a real phenomenon in ESG measurement. Can you talk a bit about aggregate confusion in a way that is not confusing? And so what is it? What are you, what are some of the learnings from your research?
First of all, Roberto Riccobon, who's the professor who got this thing started, would love your opening joke because he is actually a rock musician. So it started off with this observation that asset managers were trying to use ESG data, and they would go get data from different sources and providers, and they would completely disagree with each other. And we didn't really understand why. And the paper that came out of our group, which is called Aggregate Confusion, the Divergence of ESG Ratings, was the first one to sort of really point out this problem and then understand the underlying causes for why, MSCI and Sustainalytics and Vigeo or now Moody's would come to such massively different conclusions. You could have some companies that were top quartile in one rating and bottom half of the other one. And we've tried to illuminate what the problems are, why that happens, and then point a path toward, a more effective use of ESG information and effective production, analysis, and use of ESG information.
Got it. Sort of.
No. I mean, look, it's complicated, right? So here's the issue is that, companies, the rating agencies sit in the middle of this value chain, right? BlackRock and others use MSCI, for example, to tilt their ESG portfolios, but essentially that is an opinion. MSCI rating is an opinion about the firms, and that opinion is based on a set of data, and different rating agencies are using different scopes. Like some include electromagnetic field pollution and some don't. Some include lobbying and some don't. And then when they do agree, so we all care about women's empowerment, for example, we measure it really differently. So one might look at sexual harassment lawsuits, and one might look at number of women on the board, another might look at number of women in middle management. And they're all sort of different ways of measuring the same underlying concept. So the first observation was the divergence relates to those two things. We define it differently, we measure it differently. Now the question is, where do we go from here? And there's a whole series of research papers and things that have come out about how asset managers can use multiple data sources and kind of triangulate between them to get a better answer than they could from only one. We're doing a set of engagement with policymakers about how these ESG rating agencies should be regulated so that they can be more transparent, so that we can, there might be an appeals process for companies, and how the whole system could be improved if we could have better disclosure, more consistent disclosure on the part of companies, so that we can really get to a place where we can achieve the goals of this whole community, which is to, have better information about firms, make better decisions, and have a better impact on the world.
Yeah, you just noted how asset managers are triangulating, and a lot of the people that are at this conference are in that asset manager, the financial world, or financing world. What do you recommend, or what can they do to get involved to improve the quality of this data? Because it sort of seems like that's not sustainable for everybody to try to figure that out on their own.
No, that's right. I mean, there's a group of investors have joined with us to be part of this aggregate confusion project. There's a pension fund and 3 asset managers and an index provider who are really chipping in and thinking with us about the research. And we actually are open to a couple more members. So if people really want to roll up their sleeves with us, come talk. And then if you want to just learn from what's emerging from that community, you can go to, if you Google Aggregate Confusion Project, you'll find our website, and all the papers that we publish eventually end up there, even though our members get earlier access to the insights that come out of it.
It's been really exciting to talk to you and learn a little bit more about how we're going to untangle all of this aggregate confusion. We've been talking to Jason Jay. He's the director of the Sustainability Initiative at MIT Sloan. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.